This is Algebra 2, Lesson 2.6, one variable inequalities. Example A, write the inequalities shown by each graph. So maybe we need a quick inequalities recap. Hopefully we remember these symbols. I remember learning them as like the alligator, right? This is the less than symbol. This is the greater than symbol. And when you add the little line underneath, that becomes less than or equal to and greater than or equal to. So I'm going to add the or equal to. Okay? When I'm writing an inequality, for example, A, I need to pick the right symbol, and then we're going to write a letter, an inequality symbol, and a number. So looking at this, what's shaded is everything greater than 2. I'm going to just use X for each of these, but this is going to be X greater than or equal to 2. It's a greater than because we're going everything, obviously, this direction, the higher numbers. It's or equal to because it includes the 2. Okay? Letter B, we're looking at all the numbers lower than or less than 1. It's an open circle. That means we are not including 1, but everything smaller than 1. So this is going to be X is less than 1. All the numbers less than 1. I kind of look at these, if you have trouble remembering which one's the less and which one's the greater than, if you look at this arrow on the end here and you trace the arrow, it's the same as the less than or greater than shape. Again, we trace the arrow that's shaded in. It's the same as the less than shape. Okay, letter C is a compound inequality. It's going to be a number, a less than our variable, a less than our number. So, let me kind of explain why. So if I'm just looking at this part here, this looks like X is greater than or equal to -6. And if I'm just looking at this part here, this looks like X is less than 0. So what we're going to do technically is we're going to flip this one around right here. And that's the same as -6 is less than or equal to X, right? If we read them forwards or read them backwards, X greater than or equal to -6 means -6 is less than or equal to X. And then we're going to kind of squidge these together so that the X's merge, and it becomes -6 is less than or equal to X is less than 0. So we merge them together, the X's overlap, and that's how we have our lower value less than or equal to our X, less than or equal to our 0, and we're still being mindful of this open circle being a less than, and this filled in circle being a less than or equal to. Example B. Now that we know how to graph the inequalities, let's solve some, and then we can graph those solutions. So letter B has a 3x minus 2 is less than or equal to 7. We're going to solve this just like a linear equality. We're going to add 2 to both sides, and the 2's eliminate. And when we do this, our less than or equal to symbol stays a less than or equal to. Okay? 7 plus 2 is 9. Now, just like a linear equality, we would divide by 3 on both sides. 3x is 3 times x. Divide undoes the times. And that leaves us with x is less than or equal to 3. So I will then graph this by finding the 3. 1, 2, 3. I will circle it. Because it's an or equal to, I will include the 3. And then my shading is going to come in the less than direction. Everything less than and including 2, 3. Letter B is going to be pretty much the same deal. Let's drop the line on our inequality. We will start by subtracting 4 on each side. That will give me -x is greater than 2. 6 minus 4 is 2. Now, when we have that negative in front of the x, remember there is an invisible -1 there. So to get rid of the negative in front of x, we need to divide both sides by that value. And this is where we have an interesting bonus step. Anytime you divide or multiply by a negative, you need to flip the inequality. So when I divide by -1 here, it gives me x is less than -2. The inequality flipped from a greater than to a less than. So when I graph this, I have -2. I will keep that as an open circle because that value is not included. And then I will shade everything less than that value. Okay, and the whole reason we do that is because if we're reading it backwards, if we maybe added x to each side, maybe a little side thing here. So if I have -x is greater than 2, if I added x to each side and subtracted 2 from each side, okay, that gives me -2 is greater than x. So reading this backwards, we have x is less than -2. And that's why to keep the x on the left, we have to flip it. Letter C, we have -8 is less than 4x plus 8 is less than or equal to -12. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to get 3 regions now, though. So when I do my plus or minus to both sides, I do it in all 3 regions, not just on both sides. So like right here, I want to do a -8 to start off. I'm going to -8 from all 3 regions. Okay? So these would cross off. -8, -8, that is -16. Less than 4x, less than or equal to 4. Then I'm going to divide by 4. And again, I'm going to do it from all 3 spots. These would cross out. That leaves me with the x. I got a 1 on this side, and I have a -4 on this side. I think I messed that up, though. He is just less than. He is not less than or equal to. So we're going to circle the 4. Because he is not included in our value, we would not color that circle in. We're going to circle our 1. He is included in our solution, so we will color him in. And then we're going to shade between, because we want all the values larger than -4, right? X greater than -4, but all of the values smaller than 1, x smaller than but including 1. And it looks like letter D, we have 2 inequalities that we're going to have to solve. Because of that or in there, I'm going to have to do both. So I'm going to do just this one, and then we'll do the other one next. So add 5 both sides. 2x greater than 4. 5 and -1 is 4. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. X is greater than 2. I'm going to do the second one. We're going to subtract 8 from each side. -2x is greater than or equal to, what was that, 14? And then we will divide by -2 on each side. And this is where we have to remember, I'm dividing by a negative value. When I divide by a negative value, my inequality is going to flip over. It's going to switch from a greater than to a less than. So I have x less than or equal to -7. Okay, so now this one's kind of weird because I have x greater than 2. And then I have x less than or equal to -7. So sorry, I'm kind of in my workspace here. But this is our final solution. We're actually shading or is going the opposite directions from each other, not in between. So this is like an and situation where greater than -4 and less than or equal to 1. And this is what an or situation would look like. We're greater than 2 or less than -7. And I think that's all I have for these notes. Good luck on the exercises, and please let me know if you have questions.